Hi, hello. Very good evening to you all. Welcome to MindMajix. So, first, let's start with MindMajix. Okay, what we do. Okay, it's one of the leading platform where we provide the online coaching trainings to the students, and also um, we have a lot of trainers here, so who are from the training background. And come to the MindMajix, we are 10 plus years experienced trainers, and it is one of the reputed organization in the globe where we provide trainings across the globe. um, yeah, so we have 450K plus professional got trained, and we'll be training on most of the technical topics every time. Okay, and it's one of the industry ready and active certification based curriculum where you'll be once you complete the training, you'll be getting the certification from us. And coming to myself, my name is Purushottam. I have 8 plus years experience in networking, which includes designing architecture and operations. So I am CCNA, CCNP graduated, certified, and also the cloud certification like Azure and Amazon certified. So, so I have worked for a couple of MNC top multinational companies, and also I do have the corporate training experience. Okay, as of now, I'm working as senior architect in one of the reputed company. So this is about myself. And coming to today's agenda, so let's go through some of the network fundamentals which we require as a starter, and understand LAN, WAN, MAN technologies, and also the troubleshooting. Okay, it doesn't include only about the CCNA topics, but let's go through in the enterprise level where we can understand what kind of issues we get, and what is the approach on troubleshooting the issues. Okay, let's go through one by one. And the curriculum includes operations of IP data networks, LAN switching technologies, what kind of technology we use for LAN, and also WAN. WAN includes routing, ISP technologies, and yeah, and also some few practice interview questions where you should be able to pass any interviews with the questions which we provide. So coming to introduction, when we say networking, it doesn't mean you'll be only working on wires or something like that. It includes logic. It has many devices like switches, routers, hubs, etc., and also Wi-Fi technologies, VoIP technologies. Okay, so you should know how the network for a company or for small office to be built yourself, and what are the requirement it requires. So when you connect to the laptop via LAN cable or Wi-Fi, how it is, how it interacts with the network inside the office. This is something very basic we should be knowing as a network engineer. Okay, so the network means it will be like, if you have a couple of devices, printers, computers connected to the same network segment. For an example, let's say for a LAN, for any office, we'll be having the departments, right? For an example, the software department, desktop department, etc. So for this individual, how do we connect to the network, and how do we separate, and all comes to the networking topology. And also it doesn't limit to only routing and switching. So we'll be connecting many types of devices, right, in the networks. For an example, scanners, printers, and cameras, even that we can assign, we can bring it to our network. And mainly it works on how the devices recognize that we are in the network. So it uses an IP address, and there are few topics like DHCP, DNS. So how DHCP assign an IP address to the devices, and how do we track those devices to which IP, which device is connected, and what they are doing. We can track everything using the monitoring tools. So it's all interconnected. So you will understand it one by one when we go through the topics. Okay, so LAN means, it's connected internally in the office, so local area network. And metropole man means it's simple that if you have two or three office in the region, so we can connect it, so that is man. And wide area network means mostly we'll be having the ISP in between this. So if we connect two offices of different countries, it can be called as, it can be called as WAN. So if you see here in the diagram, third one, so there will be an ISP. So most of the renowned ISPs like Verizon, AT&T are connected via WAN. So most of the office, what you see, office network topology is a LAN. And some of the things very important in WAN technology are how can we connect this WAN, like two regions or two offices. Okay, so one topic comes is lease line. Okay, we can purchase a dedicated line from the ISP and connect to two networks. Okay, so it is sometimes called as DMVPN. So we can use VPN technologies, and it includes IPsec, etc. But when you come to circuit switch, what happens is we will be purchasing the circuits from the companies, from the ISPs. ISP in the sense internet service providers like Verizon, whatever it is. So we purchase the circuit, and we order the bandwidth, say 50 Mbps, 100 Mbps, whatever it is. So with respect to the employees in the office, we purchase and then we install it in between the WAN. So it will operate, and there'll be a path. Okay, we will be purchasing the prefixes, so how to reach to the destination. So it all been seen in the routing protocol, in the BGP, etc. So we'll come to the topic later in the CCNA course. Okay, so coming to here, to give a little more brief about lease line. So most of the companies uses the DMVPN technologies, so which contains the IPsec, where the tunneling, we'll be creating a tunnel between two networks. So this helps to send the packets in a, which gives the security in between these tunnels. And coming to circuit switched, what happens, it's kind of circuit based network. So we'll be adding BGP attributes here for the security purpose, and also we'll be having firewalls in between to monitor the traffic, etc. And troubleshooting, troubleshooting is very very important when we talk about networking, because from the scratch you should know where the issue is persist. So let's say in networking we have separate several levels, say L1, level 1 troubleshooting, level 2 troubleshooting, level 3 troubleshooting. And mostly we should know OSI layer model while troubleshooting any issues. In OSI layer model, we have seven layers, right? So it starts from the application layer and ends to the physical layer, where you can use the OSI 7 layers to troubleshoot any issues. So when it comes to any issues, for example, if internet is not working for one customer, one user, or internet is not working for one department, or internet is not working for complete office, so each requires different kind of analysis, right? So for an example, so now there is one user who is not getting internet. So in that time, as a network engineer, you can ask them to check the cable. Okay, so we can ask them to replace the LAN cable and try checking this. Okay, and then next comes to what IP is getting. Okay, so sometimes he might be getting APIPA IP, which short from 169 IP. So it means it's not getting an IP from DHCP server. So in that case, we can easily troubleshoot that. It probably might be the cable issue or NIC card issue. We can get to know from the IP what it is getting. Okay, so this is one of the easiest way, and we can ask them to IP renew, IP release. So probably the level 1 support can be done this. So this is called the cable problems. And yeah, we can go deeper in the practical sessions, what to do in the cabling issues and connectivity problem, etc. But when we come to the next one, the connectivity problem, okay. So it says ports or interface on which the device is connected or configured can be physically down, faulty, due to which the host will not be able to communicate with the destination host. So it says when the port is down, okay. So probably what happens when you have connected to the network and it is connected to switch, might be everything looks good from your end, that cable looks fine, and the NIC card looks good. So what happens, it will go back to network engineer again. So he will log into the switch and check the port interface of the user. And when he input the command over there, so he will come to know whether port is up or down. If it is, if the port is down, definitely user, I mean, um, the person who is using computer doesn't get the internet because the port is down, right? So that is the connectivity problem. So might be the port has a faulty port or damaged port, so we can replace the port. So it, or might be the port is shut, so we can unshut. So few troubleshooting steps comes there. So we can do this in the practical session, so it will be very clear. And configuration issue, so probably what happens in sometimes there might be the VLAN mismatch. So we have to check the whether the correct VLAN is passed to the correct VLAN passed to the interface where user is connected. Because when in the second point, when you see the port is up but still customer is not um, getting the internet, then probably you have to check the configuration, right? So we can ask them whether have you connected to Wi-Fi or the LAN cable. So if it is LAN, check the VLAN of the LAN, or check the, if he has connected to Wi-Fi, check the VLAN of the Wi-Fi. So like that we can troubleshoot it. And if the VLANs are correctly passed, everything looks fine, then that might be another kind of issues, right? Because if single user has an issue like this, so we can come to know there might be some issue apart from the networking, when other users are able to connect to the internet, but only single person is unable to uh, connect to the internet. So next comes the software issue. Okay, so what happens here is that the iOS of the switch, or might be some software logical issues that you can troubleshoot in the network. So that comes in the lab, so we can go through it clearly what it says. So this is for the problem for single user issue. But if issue happens for multiple users, say enter office, so we can check the spanning tree protocol, whether there is a spanning tree loop, and how to troubleshoot spanning tree loops, and what are the types of spanning tree protocol which we use in the corporate networks, and which one is better, why do we use the particular spanning tree. So that all we can check one by one by analyzing um, the positives and negatives of the spanning tree, right? And so if that in that case, if entire users are facing issue, so you can check from the switching end if all configurations are fine, or if there is any switches faulty or some issue with the configurations, you can verify everything. And then you can go to routing, check the prefixes, check if BGP or WAN configuration is correct, whether we can able to reach the ISP, internet service provider, etc. So this comes for network down issue. And sometimes maybe switch iOS version, okay, which will be causing the problem. Say CPU utilization is high, that time customers will face I mean users will face the issues connecting to the network. So this, so and one more important thing is that if we have an office where employees are facing the slowness, so slowness issues will come when there is um, unavailability of the bandwidth. So we can check which user is using high bandwidth and what he is checking. So we can troubleshoot all this in the troubleshooting in the while in the configurations when we go through the labs. Okay, so it requires a monitoring tool, etc. So this is about troubleshooting methods. And maybe traffic roll, as I discussed, CPU load, or I mean bandwidth load, it all comes under this category. um, yeah, so we can check that abnormal activities from the configurations. And sometimes what happens with the network IP issues, so as it says, due to improper configuration of IP address. Okay, for an example, we have a DHCP scope where it allows only 200 employees 200 employees to log into the network. But if you have a 201th employee who's trying to access the network, he won't be getting an IP address. This is due to the shortage of IP address. So we can fix it by increasing the IP address. So it comes a lot of things, and say routing IP to the next hop. The source will not be able to reach the destination IP to the network. So that we can check in the routing issues. So what is happening in the network, and this will give you more um, analysis power, where you can try to analyze what's happening, and it will improve your logical thinking, etc. So let's say in the flow. Okay, so what happens typically in any companies? Okay, so if you know the troubleshooting, you can learn the CCNA, all the topics very easily, because um, when you know the CCNA correctly, all the topics, you can easily analyze any issues within yourself. So let's say the flow here. Let's look at the flow. When there is an issue, it is a start. Okay, define the problem. Let's say, what is the problem? Is it the slowness? Is it happening for single user? Is it happening for multiple users? And then gather the facts. So what you have to do, you have to ask them: is it happening for any particular time, or any due to any software applications? Is it happening for a particular software website, etc.? So you can gather the facts and consider the possibility. So you have to think yourself and analyze what could be the issue. Okay, and is it happening for only a few users, few department, or few any particular website, etc. And create an action plan. So you have to think yourself, what action I can take to resolve the issue within the time period, and implement the action plan, make the changes. Let's say, if few scenarios here, if it is bandwidth issue, check the bandwidth and analyze the bandwidth, and check which user is using the bandwidth. Or if you want to increase the bandwidth, you can increase the bandwidth. So that are the action plans you can take care. Or if IP subnet is less, increase the subnet, etc. And if it is only for if it is like the issue is for enter office, where they can't able to access the internet, then reach out to internet service provider. Before that, check why it is happening from your side, gather the logs. Okay, so once you're done with your action plans, observe the result. Say, one scenario here is that if bandwidth is choking up, um, analyze what is happening there, what is causing the bandwidth to go high. Okay, so analyze that and implement your plan of action with respect to the issue. So observe the result. Okay, so and utilize the process. So for an example, so once you observe the result, if it is making sense, if user can able to uh, work as usual, so that's fine. Or else you might have to um, follow the process again. Okay, do problem symptoms stop? Yes. Okay, fine, go to next step. Problem can be resolved. Or no, utilize the process again, go to the facts which is mentioned above. So likewise, the problem can be found out. And the important thing here is that you can make a documentation of that, where it will be helpful for any employees who can join later. Or this is some flow where you can learn the process and try to fix the issues. Well, so the market of CCNA, it's huge, because every company requires a network engineer. Say if it is hospital, say it is what shops, malls, IT software companies, marketing companies, manufacturing companies, whatever it's so requires network engineers. So it's of huge demand, and so job opportunity will be anywhere. If you know the CCNA topics, that is more than enough to get the entry level job in the networking and get an experience. You can grow to the higher levels, and you can design the networks of the companies. Okay, so there are several parts here. So you can order the devices, you can design, you can troubleshoot, anything can be done. And it's evergreen, so you can straight away without thinking you can join the course and learn CCNA. So it will helpful for you for the future, because the networking is the C. You have the many different flavors in the networking, say network security, network routing and switching, network wireless, etc., network cloud. So there are many topics out there. And the coming to the certification, as I said, you know for CCNA we have many flavors. Say you can take routing switching or wireless or security or any other with respect to your interest. And definitely it's a um, high paying technical capability where you can prove yourself and work on large organization. So it's, the competition here is more, because many people wants to learn CCNA, and that doesn't stop you from getting job, because the job market is huge. Anybody can get job in networking. This is something very good in networking. And there are higher level you can choose, like CCNP and CCIE. You can specialize with your capabilities. And once you complete the course, you will be certified from MindMajix, where you can put it in your resume and show it to get the job. And you can yeah, tell in the interviews that you have done the certification from MindMajix. It will be plus in the resume. So some of the random topics of the course, like routing. So once you join the course, you'll learn about the routing, how routing works, what to do when there is any issues with the routing, and what are the protocols of routing. So you'll learn from the bottom of the um, technology, where you should be able to um, understand and also work on the routing issues without any help. And spanning tree issue, it is the LAN technology, is one of the uh, privacy technologies which we used in the networking. This is one of the important topics, so you can learn how to configure the spanning tree, and what are the protocols of spanning tree, and how to troubleshoot the spanning tree issues, etc. So it will be very helpful in the corporate world. And about VLAN, the types of VLAN, and why do we use VLAN, etc. It is one of the basic topics where it is must to learn and understand. And coming to border gateway protocol, you know you learn about the different um, techniques, which attributes which we use in the border gateway protocol. So you can play around it when we have the outer facing network to the internet. So you can configure with respect to your requirement, and you can safeguard your network. So we can see it in the practical sessions. And coming to security fundamentals, so according to CCNA new topics, so this is one of the must topics to be included. And we'll go through different fundamentals of security, where you can secure the LAN and WAN environment. And DHCP DNS, it's one of the very very important topics in the networking. Okay, so how DHCP work, how DHCP assigns an IP address, etc. Okay, how to add DHCP, how to configure DHCP, how to troubleshoot DHCP issues, and DNS, domain name systems. So what is DNS and where do we use it, and how to use it and why to use it, etc. So we'll go through it very in an easy way. It's not a big topics, but very important to understand. Okay, also we'll be working on many projects. One of the sample project I say is that it covers most of the stuff of CCNA. So let's create a LAN and WAN network. We'll configure everything, say in the LAN, STP, VLAN, etc. And in the WAN technology, let's configure BGP, EAGRP, OSPF, whatever it is comes to the WAN technologies. And also we'll include ISPs. We'll add the bandwidth and check the flow, and let's troubleshoot. Let's add the Wi-Fi devices, etc. So it will give you the most of the things you're looking for. So we can use um, packet tracer to achieve this. So it will be easy for you to understand the network of any corporate or small offices, medium offices, etc. Yeah, so we will be working on a couple of projects, and one of the project which will give you the overview of enter CCNA is the LAN and WAN topology. So which includes routing, switching, wireless, etc. So we'll add all the devices and let's configure STP, VLANs of the LAN part, and etc. And also port security. So in the WAN part, we can configure OSPF, EIGRP protocols, and BGP attributes to check um, if we can achieve what we are looking for. So we'll be working on many projects, and also this is one of the projects where it will give you complete overview of CCNA and also technology in taking consideration of the enterprise network. So it will give you more exposure where you should be able to configure and troubleshoot issues yourself. Okay, so next let's start with the projects what we demonstrate. Okay, so we'll be working on a couple of projects. In one of out of that, one of the important project which we go through is to build the architecture of LAN and WAN technology. So where we'll be adding routing, switching, Wi-Fi technologies, and also the devices, servers, DHCP servers, etc. So let's build the big topology where we should be able to configure most of the protocols like coming to LAN, like STP, VLAN, etc., and also port configuration. Coming to WAN, we can configure OSPF, EAGRP, and also BGP. So if we can build this topology, it will help us to achieve what we are looking for, and you should be able to understand how to configure and also troubleshoot issues. This is not limited, so we'll be going through lab for most of the topics where you should be able to pass the CCNA certification easily. So coming to the lab setup, let's use packet tracer tool, which will be easily available on the internet, so we can achieve what we are looking for. So you can go to this link for additional course resources where you'll understand about certification and also the courses updated by Cisco, and few interview questions. So how traceroute works, how switch learn MAC address, what is BPDU filter, can I use it on trunk ports, okay, how do I perform inter-VLAN routing without layer 3 device, or what is inter-VLAN routing, and how would you avoid STP loop, or how to configure STP, and what are the types of STP protocols in the network, etc. So there are many questions. So we'll work on the practical labs, keeping in the consideration of what kind of questions the interviewer can ask, and how to pass the interview. Since I am from the corporate, so I have experience in taking interviews, etc. So I will help you about the questions and the psychology of the interviewer. It will help you to face the interviews. Okay, so if you have any doubts, you can feel free to reach out to MindMajix, and we have provided the email address here. Okay, thank you very much for your time.